Today we are going to discuss about all ages in English literature, and the first one for this is here is the classification. First is 450 to 1066. It is called Old English or Anglo-Saxon period. Next is 1066. From here Anglo-Normal period start and to 1500. The age called Middle English period. 1500 to 1600, the Renaissance, early modern period. 1558 to 1603, Elizabethan age. 1603 to 1625, Jacobean age. 1625 to 1649, Caroline age. 1649 to 1660, Commonwealth period or the Puritan age, when Cromwell, the rule of Cromwell came. 1600 to 1785, the New Classical period. 1660 to 1700, Restoration period. 1700 to 1745, the Augustan age. 1745 to 1783, the age of sensibility, or you can say the age of Johnson. 1785 to 1830, the Romantic period. Some call it from 1798, when William Wordsworth and S.T. Coleridge published lyrical ballads, till 1837. 1832 to 1901, the Victorian period, and here onwards 1939 to onwards postmodernism came. Old English literature or Old English period. First, Old English or Anglo-Saxon was written from 1600 to 1100, and from 1100 Anglo-Norman period starts. The greatest Old English poem is a long epic called Beowulf, and here comes the long epic poem Beowulf, whose author is unknown, written by anonymous author. Two Old English authors that are known by name are Candman, the author of short hymns, and he was a religious person and wrote hymns on the praise of God about the creation. And Steinwulf, the author of four long poems like the Fears of the Apostles, Christ too, and Juliana, and like poems like these were written by Steinwulf. Second is Middle English literature. Middle English was used from about 1100 to about 1500, and the period is between 1100 to about 1500, and in between comes the age of Chaucer. Poetry, the most important poet of the time is Geoffrey Chaucer, was the most important poet of the time, and his great work, the Canterbury Tales. And the next is drama. The three main types of medieval drama are mystery plays, and they all were taken from Bible stories, and miracle plays about the lives of saints. Sometimes they were called hagiographies, and often question comes, what is hagiography? It talks about the lives of saints and the miracles they performed. And morality plays, in which the characters personify moral qualities. Every character has moral qualities. They represent moral qualities such as charity or vice, goodness or evil, abstractions as death or youth, and in which moral lesson is taught. And the motive of these plays are to taught moral lesson to people. Elizabethan literature. This is literature written approximately during the time Queen Elizabethan. Queen Elizabethan, whose reign was between 1558 to 1603. And poetry, the most important poets include Edmund Spenser, the author of Fairy Queen, Walter Raleigh, and William Shakespeare, who wrote plays. And in this period, Elizabethan literature flourished in abundance. Drama is the greatest form written during the Elizabethan age, and drama was the greatest form. William Shakespeare is considered one of the greatest playwrights of all time, and William Shakespeare was greatest playwright of the period. His vast work include Hamlet. These are tragedies. King Lear, Macbeth, Othello. These are four famous tragedies. Merchant of Venice. Other important dramatists include Christopher Marlowe. Remember, this Christopher Marlowe wrote Dr. Faustus, very Renaissance, very important Renaissance play. And Van Johnson, known for his humorous comedies, comedy of humor, like Volpone or the Fox, like these. The Age of Milton, the most important poet after the Elizabethan period is John Milton, known for his Paradise Lost, written in 12 books. Milton's greatest work is the epic poem Paradise Lost. One of the best poets of this period is Robert Herrick, who is famous for his beautiful lyrics, and Robert Herrick wrote lyrics. Restoration drama. A great change in literature happened after Charles II became king. After a period closing, the theatres were reopened and new forms of drama appeared. What happened in this age is that earlier, when it was the rule of it was the reign of Cromwell, what he did is that he closed all the theatre because he was Puritan, and it was against their their morality to do such things to of enjoying all the phases of life. And that's why what he did is that he closed all the theaters. And it was Charles II who loved drama, and he reopened the theaters, and new forms of drama appeared at that time. The main forms of drama of this period are the heroic plays. Heroic plays were written at that time, as written by John Dryden, like Absalom and Achitophel, which is a political allegory. And the comedy of manners was very famous at that time. And like R.V. Sheridan wrote what he wrote is that and William Congreve wrote The Way of the World, and R.V. Sheridan wrote School for Scandal. Neoclassicism. The main characteristic of neoclassicism is poetry should be guided by reason, and in this period here dominates reason. And the role of poet is that of teacher, and it becomes the role of a poet to teach lesson, and he became a teacher. Poetry should be written according to fixed rules, and there are fixed rules to write poetry. Like there were meter were prevalent at that time. Poetry should use special diction, and poetry is written in special diction. The major representative of the school are John Ryder and Alexander Pope, and this age also known as the age of Pope. Next is Romanticism. The main characteristic of Romanticism poetry is the expression of personal feelings, and here comes poetry of subjectivity, and they represented personal feelings rather than impersonal feelings. Like objective poetry was discarded at that time, and poetry became subjective. Imagination is the main source of poetry, and here in this time imagination was full at its height. Nature in romantic poetry is a living thing, a teacher of man and a healing power, as said by William Wordsworth. They talked about nature, and they thought nature as a living thing, a teacher of man, and a healing power. Some important romantic poets are William Wordsworth, Keats, Byron, Shelley, and Coleridge. William Wordsworth wrote lyrical ballads in 1798 with S.T. Coleridge. Keats, known for his poems, and Lord Byron, and Shelley. the Victorian period. It includes the second half of the 19th century, and the second half of the 19th century is included in the Victorian period. Poetry, Alfred Tennyson and Robert Browning are the major poets of the time, and they written about Robert Browning, known for his dramatic monologues, Alfred Tennyson, and the novel was the main literary production of the Victorian period. Was also at its height at that time. This was the time of Charles Dickens, who wrote Oliver Twist, Jane Austen, and Emily Bronte, George Eliot, and Thomas Hardy. These were known novelists, you can say. In drama, the best dramatist of the period is Oscar Wilde, and this was the best dramatist of the time. His masterpiece is The Importance of Being Earnest, and here the importance of being earnest is a very great play, and sometimes questions are asked from this play, and I think that this is very important play. And the last is the 20th century. As a result of political changes and the world wars, the sense of confidence in Victorian literature is replaced by the loss of faith. And in the 20th century, there comes the feeling of loss of faith, suffering, and uncertainty, as it was talked by in the Wasteland, written by T.S. Eliot. He was talking about the loss of faith, uncertainty, and sufferings, and stylistic experimentation and revolution against all literary tradition are the marks of modern literature. And here comes the great change in stylistic experiment, and some major literary figures include W.E. Yeats, T.S. Eliot, and W.H. Auden. They are for poetry, and Virginia Woolf and James Joyce, known for their stream of consciousness, if you know, and Samuel Beckett in drama. And here comes the end of this video, and I think that for all literary ages it is sufficient video, and I will put all things in detail one by one. Thank you to stay connected with me, and have a nice day.